What makes Collin Sexton such a divisive player?
Collin Sexton is a divisive player because at his age, he is putting up numbers offensively that are very comparable to like a Donovan Mitchell. They are more points more efficiently than Jamal Murray. But the team success isn't there. The impact isn't there. Early in his tenure, when he first got drafted, like as a rookie, he was objectively terrible, and the veterans couldn't stand him. He has improved every season since then. But I think there was some emotional baggage there, like whether it's with Larry Love or what other veterans were still there. There was frustration from those early days. So I think it's funny because people. I hate this term. I really hate this term because it's been used in so many bad faith arguments. But the push to make him come off the bench without somebody earning that spot over him, like nobody thinks he shouldn't be playing 32 minutes a night on this team. This team isn't talented enough to have him playing 20 minutes a night. So if you're going to start a lesser player than him to come off the bench, like it's almost like virtue signaling. Hey, we know that this team needs to have a big shooting guard. We need to have someone else that at least in theory fits. When in reality, like he is already staggered with Garland as much as possible. Like if they're playing 32 minutes a night, that gives 16 minutes with Garland, 16 minutes without Garland. He is playing all of those second unit minutes. So I don't understand why people get so caught up with who's starting. Right. If someone else comes along and takes that spot from him, yeah, absolutely. You can evaluate it then. Maybe it'll be Isaac Okoro. I happen to think that he's a little more comfortable offensively at the shooting guard position, but the fact that he puts up such great numbers, so like 24, 4.5 assists last year, like league average efficiency, and in a really, really terrible spacing situation. Like, unless people think it's harder to score when you're playing with Nikola Jokic or more talented teams, I don't see why people are kind of scoffing at the efficiency and the points he's putting up. But it's the typical thing of shooting guard that puts up scoring numbers on a bad team. People just assume, oh, it's empty stats. Anyone can do that. Every team in the league has someone scoring 25 points a night on league average efficiency. Yeah.
I think I am a big advanced analytics person, but I do think we get to a point where let's not overthink 24 plus points while hitting 50+% of your twos and 37+% of your threes. That's just, those numbers are absurd. And the type of offense he plays is not like this ball needs to be in his hands for 8 seconds every single time. So if the team gets better, if the spacing gets better, you can envision his offense holding, if not being more efficient or more amplified on a better version of the team. And so I get, if you want to view him as your best player, then yeah, there's some issues there. That's not what he's supposed to be. And you mentioned we do get caught up. I understand like the cachet of the starting fives, but I'm with you that we get too caught up in who's actually starting. And especially on this team, it's like, are you going to start Kevin Pangos or Ricky Rubio instead? Like, who is the Jetty Osmond? Like, who are you starting instead of Collin Sexton on this team?
Right. Yeah. Damian Dotson last season. Like, I just don't understand it. And obviously the on-off numbers aren't going to be great for him because he is being staggered, as I said. And in the past, like, they didn't have a backup point guard. I think having Ricky Rubio is going to really help him in that second unit because now he doesn't have to try to be a point guard and he can play in that secondary off-ball role, which he plays better in. Like Garland and Sexton, they play better when they are together. And I think that's a really important thing. Like when Garland was having his best games in April, Sexton was also playing really well. Every time Garland scored 30, Sexton would also score 30. Like these guys play well off of each other. So I do understand long-term fit concerns, but like if you look at Portland as an example, where they went wrong was cashing in on the wrong players. They didn't consolidate talent in at the right times. They traded first-round picks for the wrong players. The issue they made wasn't trading away CJ McCollum while he was still on his rookie deal because you're concerned about the long-term fit. It was not trading CJ McCollum after he had kind of established himself, after you've brushed up against the ceiling and you've seen the limitations, and basically doing what Toronto did. They tried Lowry and DeRozan for a long time. Once that hit a ceiling, you move DeRozan and other pieces to get an established star, to get a better fit. That's, in my eyes, that's what you do right now if you're the Cavs. You try this combination to see how well it works. And if you hit a ceiling or if you find another combination that works better, go to it, use that. But for the time being, you play your most talented players the most minutes. That's just the way you do this when you are a team that's been in the lottery the last